I'm Zeo and welcome to my creations where I make whatever I want and algorithm hates it. And today we'll be making this 3D printed red Zeo helmet with a flushed visor. I chose Power Ranger Zeo because I already own a full set of Mighty Morphin ones and I even have mannequins for some of the suits, so I think it's time to move on to the next season. But also it has the simplest design in terms of paint application, like the mouthpiece is not silver, the black lines are not overly complicated, and it's just some white and the rest is red. And that's it. The hardest part is actually the vacuum formed visor, which is why it took me so long before I attempt to make a helmet. I mean, I made a much complicated life-size Harry Potter head before I made a helmet, because I am waiting for a vacuum former. Vacuum forming is basically heating up plastic and pushing it down onto an object that you want the plastic to be the shape of by sucking it with a vacuum to ensure that the plastic has that shape. And a vacuum form visor is so important for any cosplay helmets because it provides vision from the inside. And that's it. But don't be fooled by the simplicity of its function because it plays a vital role aesthetically, because it plays a vital role aesthetically speaking. It's going to stick out like a sore thumb if you don't pay enough attention to it. Like if it's supposed to be a round visor and you try to glue it on with a flat one, this is what it's going to look like. And compared to one that is done correctly, no matter how nice your painting is on that helmet, nobody cares. So you want to integrate the visor into the helmet like it's part of the helmet with this vacuum former from Vacucu3D. But first you need to have something that you want to form. So this is where JLC3DP comes into play. If you don't have the printer, this is your solution. Even if you have one, like myself, it is such a time saver. You just need to drag in your model, choose the resin that you want, and in my case I chose the 9600 resin because I've used it before for my spring body mask and it is top quality resin. They'll check the models for you, and once it's approved, you just need to sit back and wait for the package to arrive, and you will have your very own 3D print in hand after a couple of days. If you decide to print it yourself, you will have to deal with a lot of things before getting a successful print. You need to prepare your models for printing by applying the right amount of support of the right sizes, make sure your printer has the right exposure settings, and if you do get a successful print, you need to be careful with cutting off support, you do some washing with alcohol, cure it again with UV light, and then do more post-processing like filling in potholes and worst of all, sanding. Which is exactly what I did. I didn't have the right settings, so I had to print it twice and still they were not perfect. And I tried my best to salvage the prints as much as I could before realizing that it's just not worth it. And I simply let the professionals at JLC3DP do it for me. Like, I don't even have to say anything, right? It's so obvious that it's just a much better print than what I've managed to print on my own. The two halves are flushed, so I don't even need to try and level them. There are basically no support residues. The print is so smooth that it makes my print look like garbage. But most importantly, the question is it much more expensive than printing it yourself? Not really, cause it took about 1.5 liters for the front and another 500 for the back, so a total of 2 liters of spit resin. One bottle of spit resin is $33, so I spent a total of $66 of spit resin, not including other materials like alcohol, water and electricity, and also the cost of labor. On the other hand, it's only $85 plus shipping for JLC3DP to handle everything. No washing, no failures, nothing. That's where it makes the most difference, right? You don't wanna spend more time trying to fix a print after printing it. So I would say it's totally worth it for my case. If you're interested, check out the link in the description below and make your account to get $60 worth of coupons. Now that I have the prints, I sanded the star smooth and it's finally time to try vacuum forming. This is the A3 size Vacucu3D former and it is massive with a heater and vacuum integrated in one machine. It's quite a straightforward machine to use. You want to set the temperature on the left menu and I'm going for about 100 degrees Celsius. Then you secure your PET-G plastic sheet in between the two frames, lock it, wait for the heater above to reach your desired temperature, then pull up the lever and the timer will start counting down. This is when you can put your object on bed. And in my case it's the star visor and I'm lifting it up with a box so that the suction wouldn't break the tips. When the timer goes off, you want to switch on the suction on the right, push down the lever and that's it. A vacuum formed visor, super easy, that I had to do twice because I screwed up. It's not the former's fault, it's mine. Please do not use a heat gun after installing the visor. We were almost done, I was just trying to fix up some white paint and trying to speed things up, so I heated that area and the star shrunk. So I had to redo it. But that's for later. Once I have the visor, we can start cutting the excess off to get the print out of the plastic and ta-da! It's amazing, isn't it? You can never get this type of curve with a flat plastic, and this is why you need a former. There's just no way around it. So to tint the visor, there are two ways. One of them is to dye it with fabric dye, which involves pouring the powder into hot water and dipping the plastic in until you achieve your desired shade. But I feel like it's quite wasteful if I'm just doing one visor, so I decided to use smoke paint instead. You will be needing a couple of layers to get it right, but once it's tinted, this is what it looks like on the outside. Such a beautifully done visor, and you can't see into the helmet, but from the insides, I mean, I probably could have painted better, but you can see through it. It's just a little foggy. Now that the hardest part is done, it's time to get it ready for paint. As you can see, there are some unevenness in the two halves, but already it's better than what we had previously. And with a few layers of grey primer, the other flaws became clearer as well. But this is why I love resin prints so much, because it's so easy to sand things smooth. Like these support residues at the back, just a 320 grit sandpaper and everything is gone. There are more subtle layer lines like these printing lines, but it's so much easier to sand compared to an FDM print. I'm not even complaining. Like, I've made two helmets back in 2018 and back then they were resin casts, so they had a lot of warping and unevenness to it that this is actually a walk in the park. Cause I could fix some stuff digitally and all we need to do is to focus on making things look pretty, like carving out the detail lines that I've sanded off accidentally. Another thing that I added digitally were the magnet holders, so that we wouldn't have to add things manually and risk failing miserably. I kinda eyeballed the size, so it's really fortunate that we have some magnets of that same size, and we just have to glue them on. Then we can start fixing the two halves. I was so foolish to think that I could just sand both halves flat with the sandpaper, because I forgot I added registration keys, so it's impossible to sand the front half. I did try using a sanding block, but it wasn't enough, so we ended up with gaps in between. But it's fine because Vaseline has more than one use. I added some tape to act as barrier, then applied some Vaseline to prevent the clay from sticking to the front half. Now we can add some UV clay to the back half to cover the gaps, and we can separate them smoothly thanks to the Vaseline. Cure it under the UV light and all the gaps are gone. Just a little bit more sanding and I'm going to add some elastics. The thing is, because we only have magnets on the bottom two sides, the top is quite loose. So by gluing some Velcro onto the helmet and the other half on some elastics, we can give the helmet some tension to keep it tight. Then finally, we can do some painting. Very simply, we start with black for the pinstripe lines, use a thin masking tape to mask the lines, spray another black layer to prevent the paint from bleeding, then we can do some white. One thing to note is that I should have probably let it dry a little bit longer before masking the whites, because the tape damaged the paint. But I don't know how long I have to wait because I don't want to waste time. So if you have any tips, please leave it in the comments. But yeah, after white, it's just red. And again, I made a mistake here. We didn't spray white for the entire helmet because as you can see, the red is very uneven. Some darker red and some brighter. So eventually I did respray the entire thing and it looks so much better. And yeah, this is what I was talking about. The white had some markings where the tapes were, so I had to do some sanding to make it smooth. But the black lines were pretty nice. Like, look at how satisfying it is to peel off the tape. Once the whites are flat, I went back to do some touch up and then the blacks were ruined by the touch up. So I had to go back to fix the blacks as well. Which was totally worth it because look at this, it looks so nice now. Last but not least, I used some 1K clear to gloss the entire helmet, then we can install the visor. Which was quite irritating because there isn't much surface area that I could apply glue on, which ended up eating into the helmet, and that was when it happened. I was doing touching ups and melted my first visor. But it's okay, we did another one really quickly and replaced the old visor and it's done. A Power Ranger Red Zeo helmet. I love how clean it looks. I do wish it's a little bit glossier, so that is something I might fix in the future. If you're interested in the vacuum former, the link is in the description below as well. I'll probably make a few more to complete the collection, so if you have any questions, leave it in comments below and I will try to answer them in the next video. Thank you for watching.